I'm going to take you to page 5 of the Daily Nation and just get your thoughts on this, because you said that people are in the business of selling newspapers.
Yes.
Is this an article that you consider of the same nature? Raila Mudavadi fight Aukot bill. And you've heard what Okango has had to say, that Kenyans are hungry, Kenyans are thirsty, they're looking for provision of basic services. Do referendums bring those much needed relief to people? Will they provide that?
First of all, let me say that my biggest frustration so far with this discussion around the referendum has been an outright refusal by media to lay out the proposals that are being made by our brothers in Third Way Alliance and the counter-arguments thereto. Because the media wants to frame this as a fight between the established political parties and the upstarts at Third Way Alliance, that somehow they have stolen our shine, that somehow we are jealous that they were able to pull off the 1.2 million signatures, yet we were unable to when we tried to do the Okoa Kenya thing. And you see, that is a grave failure of the media, because you have a responsibility, and I took to issue the main newspapers in this country. They did not bother at all to explain to Kenyans why the Orange Democratic Movement was saying that we need to relook at the proposals that have been made. They don't want to make it clear that the bill, once my brother Ken Okango produced a bill, cannot be amended. Even if you find a problem in it, because it was the basis of collection of signatures, you can't remove anything or add anything or spice it up or amend it. So that the choice that is before us as Kenyans is either to reject it as a whole or accept it with all the mistakes that we see. So I would have loved the media, and the only newspaper that did this actually is the Star newspaper. It laid what the proposals are, and clause by clause why we think it would create constitutional confusion for you to amend one clause of the Constitution, forgetting that there is another clause that provides for the same thing and you have not touched it. For instance, our brothers have proposed that they wanted to make the Senate the upper house. Making the Senate the upper house is not just to say that the Senate shall be the upper house. So they have not transferred any of the key functions in the National Assembly to the Senate that would give it the upperness, if I were to say that. So for instance,
the superiority.
Yes, the superiority. So there are a few questions we have asked about that arrangement. Number one, you have said that the Senate will have the power to determine the constitutionality of a bill that is passed in the National Assembly. Yet, you have forgotten that the High Court has been given the power by that same Constitution to do just that. You have not touched the clause that gives the High Court that power. Number two, the President in the current setup is the one who has power to return a bill to the House and give a memorandum on the reasons why, for instance, he cannot sign or append his signature to it. You have not touched that provision. So you are adding provisions, forgetting there are others that also touch on the same subject matter. And we are saying it will cause confusion. So are your issues are with specific clauses? Exactly. Not the entire and that is the argument that we have. In fact, as the ODM, we said, there are some ideas that we have lived for and are ours. They are not original ideas from Third Way. For instance, the idea... Give us just one, because we need to have the others. I'll give you three. Two. My brother, go ahead. The idea to increase money to the county governments was our idea. And in fact, we were proposing a 45%. The idea for a one-term presidential, a one-term president in the context of a parliamentary system for 7 years, that is an ODM idea. So we are saying that there are some nice things, but they have been interspersed with things that would cause so much constitutional chaos that it is impossible for us to endorse this particular bill. Okay, fair enough.
I think I do not want to get into the merits and demerits of the Aukot bill. What is important to Kenyans is ugali, jioni. I don't know where this will be addressed. When did the constitution change become an issue? We've been debating the Aukot bill, the service, BBI and other things. When did we carry out the audit of what doesn't work for us in this constitution? Because they seem to have gone one step ahead. Before telling us how audit was done, they've gone into making a bill. Some of the things that are proposed in that bill are excellent things for this nation. But we're saying, when did we participate in auditing this Katiba? Because what is important to Kenyans? Standard of living, shelter, masomo, dawa. When will those things be addressed in wholesome? When is it that the minimum wage of the nation will be 30,000 minimum, whether private sector or public sector? We know countries that have changed. You know, development is not about roads. It's not about water. It's about the human, the Kenyan person.
Standard, the quality of living.
Yes, the quality of life.
But don't you not think that the bill or the BBI initiative will sort of reboost or retract Kenya
You've just
back?
heard, if it passes as is. It's either you take it as it is or it fails as it is. Why didn't we create a scenario where we can bring all these ideas together without thinking about who is going to be the next president? Because these things are centered, I said here before, let's talk about making Kenya a better nation, but not making seats for people so that people can ascend to power one way or the other.
Okay. Well, Higa, if you allow me...
No, I can't allow you. Bwana Okango, go ahead, I'll come back to you.
You know, I agree with Edwin Sifuna on some things that he says. And he has said that there are aspects of this bill that are good. But in his criticism, he says there are others that he don't agree with.
And it's his democratic rights to do so.
That is true. Even the leaked report from BBI that they opposed, or rather that they denied, has got issues that people don't like. One of them, Governor Kabogo has just said, I'm not sure he was talking about that, but there is issue of creating positions. Kenyans don't want it, but you know, there's no one who has monopoly of ideas in this country. You cannot say that this was your idea. Your idea for what? These ideas are for Kenyans. Kenyans want them to be implemented. Today, when you walk out of this room, Waiga, you want to go to the CBD. It's not only you want to go to the CBD. There are so many people who want to go to the CBD, so you cannot say it's only Waiga want to go to the CBD. Number two, the issue in this country is about political competition. Let us run away from it. When somebody brings in an idea, don't look at that person as a competitor, however small or big he is. But you know, some people in this country have been conditioned to believe that if it is not me, then it can never be anyone else. That is what is killing this nation, because you are boxed into a corner and wait for something that you don't know. Now, what we have done, we have followed the law. And the law requires that if you want to amend the Constitution of Kenya, you have to go to Article 255, check, Article 256 and 257. That is what we have followed. We have not formed any task force to go and meet people in a hotel room, 5,000 of them, and then come and tell people that we are waiting for a report. We have not done that. And we also agree that, you know what, the gunia that people want to reject, in that gunia we have corruption, in that gunia we have tribalism, in that gunia we have got people stealing public funds, in that gunia we have got
What
issues.
is the gunia metaphor for?
Well,
sorry, just clarify.
The media reported that there's a gunia that should be rejected. I don't know what they meant, but I'm just referring to what the gunia people said. So we are telling the gunia people, we are not opposed to gunia politics, but in that gunia, we have so much that we must reject. And also Edwin, my very good friend, by the way.
And your last point, I need
yes, my last point.
Go ahead.
Once said that if this bill, or rather if, Third Way Alliance, that he considers a very small thing for that matter, gets the 1 million signatures, he will resign. Today he has changed and he's saying, no, by the way, there's some good things in this thing. Why don't we, let us be honest, people.
Okay, I'll give you, let's let the good senator come in. And this gunia, do you understand what he means?
No, I don't. I really don't have time to understand.
Do you want the Secretary General to step aside?
I think, no, he's very able. He's been able to really support the party. I think there are two things here. First of all, I'll go to the initial question. Even looking at the paper, and we're still going back to the same theory that the media is the one which is swaying people away from more important things that should be discussed. In the same page 5, there's a very important story which has got to do with how do we cut loopholes in craft. That is what I thought we should be able to focus on. Because when you look at the budgets being developed by these county governments, even the national government, they are really unrealistic. And I think what Treasury is trying to do is trying to take us to a zero-based budget.
Why is it doing it now? Why now?
Well, it hasn't been doing. You see, we have constitutional bodies. The Commission of Revenue Allocation can tell you right now that the only body that you can be told it costs X amount to be able to manage is Parliament. They can tell you it costs X amount of shillings to be able to support one senator for the term of 5 years. We are going there. We actually also have to be realistic that, you know, the economy is getting tougher, you know, and sometimes we've got a lot of spending which is unnecessary. So I think Treasury, and with the support of the President in the war against graft, is trying to take the lead. Number two, I think if I comment on the issue of, just briefly on the bill, because I really don't want to focus on that, I think Sifuna has made a fantastic demystification of what we believe is wrong with the bill proposed by the Third Way Alliance. I kept on saying that they are completely utopian. You know, they rushed into making decision, without knowing that one clause of the Constitution affects another. In fact, if you read the Constitution, you will find same wording in one clause and another. So if you disregard that, then what exactly are you doing? So the other thing which is important is that what Mheshimiwa Kabogo said is that what we ought to do is to audit the process. What the BBI is doing is that they're coming up with a report. They're not sitting down and meeting 5,000 people in a hotel. You know, they're collecting the views of Kenyans, and in September, they will issue the initial report, which shall be debated, and then after that, we come up with a bill that all Kenyans will be able to agree and say, this is what is wrong, and this is where we need to go. If they don't agree, well, I mean, they'll put the question in the referendum, maybe next year, in January or February, and then after that, if we don't agree, I mean, it's a democratic right. But I think it's a process that has got to take, you know, its time. Look at it, don't rush it. But most importantly, let us go back and talking about things that matter. How do we ensure that Kenyans survive? How do we ensure that the budgets that we pass are realistic? We've got this fight between the Senate and the National Assembly and the Executive on the issue of the Division of Revenue Bill. Right now, there's no way you can justify and say, okay, the Executive can spend X amount of money and county governments can spend X amount of money. Because the problem is that even the Executive right now, and the National Assembly, they think that we in the Senate are fighting for money to go to governors' pockets. No, we care about the people, the Wanjikos out there. That's why we're actually saying we want more money to go to the Wanjikos, not the governors. Let the DPP deal with the governors. Okay. You know? So I think, in a nutshell, let us focus on what is important, and let us, you know, stay away from this issue of 2022 politics. Okay. Bwana Sifuna, we're due for a break. I don't want to give you 30 seconds because you will exhaust that very quickly. Let's talk more after the break. And as we take this break, we have some feedback. Yes, let's take a look at Twitter at Citizen TV Kenya. That's our official Twitter handle. The hashtag is Daybreak to see what you've been saying. You can also SMS us on 22422. All right, Engineer Lazaro says succession politics shouldn't be our priority by now. It will only help destroy the gains we've made by uniting Kenyans through handshake. Let 2022 sort itself out when the time comes. All right, that's Engineer Lazaro on Twitter. Still sticking on Twitter, Jugush, good morning. You say it's a saddening affair to our fellow Kenyans. Our leaders/politicians are not concerned about problems like cancer, universal health care. Instead, they're busy focusing on 2022 succession politics. Okay, let's take a look at another two more, I believe, being Charlie. While at it, open citizens' engagement on inflated pay packages to parliamentarians, CASs, PSs and CSs as well. Okay. Let's take a look at the last one on Twitter. Justus, good morning. You say there are permanent issues in this country to be sorted out. Healthcare services are pathetic. Kenyans are dying out here. We can't politic all the time about 2022 at the expense of our basics. Puguza bill proposal is a scam. That is the views of that viewer. 22423 is the SMS line. The hashtag is Daybreak. Bwana Okango is not amused by that last tweet. And I think on that note, we take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.